Botswana is renowned for being a peaceful country with friendly and respectful people. Due respect for others, especially authority figures, being part and parcel of Botho. Our guests tonight reveal, however, that many of us may be affording some uniformed members of the private security services more deference than is necessary. More and more cases of security guards rifling through people's personal belongings, refusing people entry into retail stores, and generally harassing customers are being reported. Customers are publicly embarrassed and left feeling violated in most instances, to the point where many choose never to return to certain places of business. What is sad is that the law of Botswana protects its citizens from such incidents, and the fact that most stores do not actually support such treatment of their clientele, and are losing business as a result of a management oversight. This evening we present the experiences of different shoppers, as well as educate you as to what your rights are when confronted with a situation in which a security guard is imposing a misguided sense of power on you and making requests with which you are simply not comfortable. Welcome to tonight's edition of First Issues. Welcome back to the program, where tonight we consider the illegal searching of persons and their belongings by store security guards. Nobody walks away feeling good after being treated with suspicion and searched by the very company in which they're spending their money in. Ignorance of consumer rights by both customers and these guards are perpetuating events that need not take place at all. Our first guest to shed light on this issue this evening are 36-year-old mother of four, Tebogo Mogapa Esi, as well as a 26-year-old Lebo Mompati, who had an embarrassing encounter with a security guard at a local wholesale store in 2013, while she was still a student and accompanying a friend to go buy furniture.
Gonne go na le mme o mongwe o bereka gone go o na le gone ga ke reception kana ke ga ke sho gore go dira gote mo gone mo kgorong mme o na ga ka re nala nako ntse ya gore leba kana ke se gona na ra tsana hela mo shopo e ba re leba se re se leba ra bore tswala kwa ntle le gore ra tswa mo shopo ga ke tswa mo shopo tsala mo na tshwere se kgwamanyana hela se tse ka tse ga lo ga fa nna ke tshwere handbag e proper karena ka teng se re mo sekolong na le dibuka and stuff like that. So anong re wa mo decide kago aba kopa go bona beke ya me ke bo ke bula hela sent and then aba itse le gore gona la apole mo teng apole ne ke pakilele as part of my lunch ga ke le ko sekwele anong apole it was inely bruised tota ine la apole le gore e ragilwe ke dibuka do tse tsote re wa mo decide ka go ba re gora gore apole ke tsere mo shopong ka bokhukhuntswana ke ba ke matlhalosetsa gore nya apole ntse le teng ke ntse kana le tsaname ga re isa go re go di vegetable kana go di fruits re le ra go le ba sena re se le ba hela be retswa ya ka gore bana re le gone re ona ka bata go tusisa gore ra reng a ba simala gore o tla ntshwe rona sa batho gore re tsamaye la behelo tsa la me ka nna re setse ra nong re lose patience aba suma la to sa modumo ga ke sho gore gona ga bitswa re wa teng ne le manager kana supervisor kana ke mme hala ile re wa ta ke ha go suma la go bua go twe go lebe di security camera do ya za go nna ya nna re lapa ka gore batho ba bantsi na ba re lebile nne go nna o ka re tota apole re tsere ke ha tsala me tota ona kuka ga maikuto tota ya nong ga ntse buela go godimo yana kana le bone ba gonna le gore ba tlhebe ke dithong kana ba ra ba re tsamaya.
Tebogo, on the other hand, was left feeling terrible after an unpleasant encounter just a few weeks ago at a store she regularly frequents.
Nna mo bekeng tse pedi tse di fitileng ke ne ka tsena go spa khale maikelo ne lo re ka go le no gona le special ke re ntle ke tsene ka ke re ke diodimo teng ka ha spa ha ke tsana khorong ya ke tletse re guts ro eno thokomela ga khorong ga ba le security so ro o rile hala ke re ka tsena tsontso hapana le ne ba nthare sorry mama ema ho ke be ke ema ke mole ba nthare ke kopa ro yo ba be ke kwa ke mo ke re ka ba re go ba di facility ke mo ke re ke go e bela mbeke yame ba nthare beke ha go itone ke mo ke re beke ke tshela ke ntse ke tsena a se la ntla ke tsena mo spa ka beke yame ke tsentse dio tsa me moteng hapa ha se nka go itlogelang ko nneng ko ha di parceling ba nthare mme ha le re ha o ye go iba go ra re ha ke bone ra o tla tsena moteng ke mo ke re mme ke a tsena ba hela nthare ha go ba hetafa o sa go ba beke ke mo ke re a o tlhaetse ka khanya go gore ke go ba slim beke sa mekwa kana beke a mena le dio tsa me se wena o sa di itseng tsa me beke ke tlhole ke tsana hela ka yone mo di shopong tse tsotlhe ba nthara ha le re ga o go iba go ra ga o ka kwa khona go tsana moteng ke mo ke re mme go botuka motho mo dimo ke bue ke tswele ko ntle ke go tse ko di shopong tse di botuka ko ene gore ke itse re nka khona go tsena ka beke yame ba nthare o ka tsama be ke tswela ko ntle ke nna hantle hale ke ema ke itiba ke iputsa gore e le gore go mpieko ke ra go tšhentšhile mo go nna go ke tlogele slimbeke mme ke tshela ke ntse ke tsena ka sone mo teng ga spa.
Kate Harriman of Consumer Watchdog Botswana followed up Tebogo's issue, and this is what occurred as a result.
We explained to the manager that, well, Tebogo explained that she'd been in and this is what had happened. The guard had refused to let her come in with her handbag. The manager, to his credit, was absolutely appalled that this had happened, and his first reaction was, why didn't you come and see me? And that's a really good question. Why don't consumers go and see the manager? And I think it comes back again to empowerment. Does a customer know that they have the right to do that? And do they feel confident in doing that? And also, how accessible are managers? Now, to the credit for this manager, his office is actually on the store floor. He sees what's going on and he's available to meet with customers. But I think it's around, as Richard said earlier, people feel humiliated. They feel embarrassed. I've just been turned away because my bag's too big. And, people sometimes, they don't want to feel silly. So sometimes they don't take it up with managers. The spa manager concerned has taken immediate action. That security guard no longer works at that store. And he's given us an assurance he'll brief all guards in the store on what their responsibilities are and what they can and cannot do.
Welcome back to First Issues as we continue to shed light on the disturbing and even illegal practices of some store security guards that results in the searching, detention and even stripping of store customers. The nature of the following accounts to be shared by a different set of consumers was disturbing enough for them to request to remain anonymous when sharing their experiences. This is what they shared.
I went to stores at Rail Park Mall to pay my account. So the shop was full and the queue was long. So I decided to leave the shop. I left the shop, I passed through the security guard. As I was walking by Woolworth store, the security guard came to me in front of me and stopped me. And she escorted me back to the shop. I asked why, she said, no, let's go back to the shop. So I went back to the shop because people, they were now looking at me, some were now following, some they were now talking, say, this woman must have stolen something. That's why she's being escorted back to the shop. So we went inside the shop, then she said to me, let's go to the fitting rooms. I said, what's wrong? She said, no, let's go. So I followed her. Then the fitting room, it was full also. It was the 20th of December, the last weekend of Christmas, so it was busy. I went there. Then she said to me, she wanted to search me. Then I said, okay. She searched me. The way she searched me, she said I should lift up my clothes. I lifted my clothes up to my neck here, and my underwear was exposed. After she searched me, then I asked her why. She said, if she suspects that I have stolen something, she has got the right to search me. Then I said to her, but I didn't steal anything. Then after that, she searched my handbag. Still, she found nothing.
Ke lemogile hela mme mongwe a nantsa a bapile le nna hela, and then gante le ke bona a sa ntebe sente e ka re wa mpelaela ga o tsoga wa tsamaya ga tikela hela ko lehingyana be ke re ke a go mmotsa gore mathata ke ene mma ga se ke re ke a molatela ke fitlhela se tsa bua le borre bangwe mo a ntse a ntshupa ka monwana yana a ba raya gore a bua a ntshupa ka monwana hela ke ipotsa gore tota keng and then ke re nte ke tsamaya hela bogolo ga ke setse ke re ke a tswa ka lebati mme mongwe o ne a ntse a lebating a bantha re ke kopa go searcha and then ke mo neela beke wa e searcha fitlhela gore ga gona sepe a bantha a re nya ka nna a tsamaya ga ke setse ke tswa ke utlwa ke bidio gape ke borre ba nne ba bua le ene mosedi o nampelaela and then ke a boa ga ke boa ba mpiletsa gone ko changing room ba ntha ba re kopa o tsene mo changing room ho ke a ba botsa gore mathata ke eng ba re nya tsena hela re ta go bolela and then ga ke tsena re a teng le ena wa tsena ba lotela lebati a ba ntha re ke kopa go searcha re ke mora ke re me kana se ke se tshula ga lebating ga go a bona sepe mathata ke eng a re nya re batla go searcha le go heta anta re ke apole boroko le skipara ke re ansearch tota a bona gore ke e be ke gana a bantha re nya ga ile gore bona gore ga o comfortable nna ke tapola ke tapola e be ke apara a o siame le mo ke re nya ra nna ka kgona dilo tse dintseng yalo e be ke bona se tsa tenega yaanong yana re nya nna kana mme ke tiro a rone re dira re kopa gore o apole ho and then e be ke apola a ba simola a searcha a bona gore ga gona sepe mo gone after that a ke sona ke apara ntha re nya ka nna tsamaya ke a mmotsa gore mathata a gore go nsearche ke eng a re nya re thola re ira batho yalo.
Then after that, I said to her, the way you have searched me, I'm not happy. You embarrassed me, you humiliated me in front of other customers. So I'm not happy with this. I'm going to complain to the manager. Then she says, it doesn't matter. Then I looked for the manager. I found the manager. I complained to the manager. I told the manager what had happened. So the manager said to me, it's not allowed in our shop for the security guard to do that. So you have helped us because some other customers, they just go without complaining. Okay, the manager calls the security guard. The security guard say, yes, I have done that. This is the woman who stole shoes last week, Wednesday, the 17th. Then I'm now surprised because I was not even on the 17th of December. I said to the manager, it's not me, I was not here, I was at work, my boss can tell you that. Then the security guard said, it's her. Then the manager said, are you sure? Then she said, it's her. Somebody from when she was entering the shop, somebody pointed her to us to say this lady stole shoes. Then I told the manager, it's not me, I was not here. Okay, then I said to the security guard, go and call that person who pointed me as I entered the shop. Then she went. After 5 minutes, the manager comes back and said to me, you can go outside for about 10 minutes because the person has gone out of the shop. Then I said, okay. As I was now sweating and angry, I just went outside for air. After 10 minutes, I went back to the shop. Then the manager calls me. Then the manager says to me, we are sorry for what had happened. That person was never called. We are sorry for what happened.
Our female guest says the guard who searched her had such a sense of entitlement that she did not even pause to ask whether she could search her handbag.
No, she didn't. She just searched my handbag.
When asked how this alarming turn of events made them feel, the strongest emotion shared by our guests was that of a sense of violation.
Cause pa ke shop ele re ke tsana mo gone nako le nako ke ntse ke tsotsene be ke a me mme gona tse le benkileng gate a go e bakwa
ne ke tlheba ke di tlhonka gore batho botlhe nna ba re lebile go nna o ka re ke nnete re dirile sengwe sa go nnalo mme se nnete no go thusa botlhoko tota
ga ke a rata tota ka gana a irile ka teng ene monna a teng ebile ga ke mmona the following day o kgona go tshega hela ga gongwe hela.
I was so humiliated, so embarrassed, and I was so emotional. I was feeling like crying.
It is as we said. These incidents in which security guards overstep the mark and encroach on somebody's privacy and rights not only cost the consumer their peace of mind and dignity, but also costs businesses money. Although Tebogo eventually returned to her favorite store, Lebo is adamant that she will never return to the mega store where she was harassed.
ke ke ntse ke e thotse ke batla go bona gore a mme kgang ele tele ntse e tla diragala e be ke tsena sena bothata bope mme go ntse go na le security lo ne le la apereng hela ke inolo ba berekang botlhe
ga ke itse ke boele teng go na le dishopo tse dingwe ke siame ka yona.
I haven't been to right now. When I want to pay my account, I pay at Edgar's. I've never been at the shop since that.
ga ke ise ke boele go gona go thelele nna ke na maikelo.
When we return, the experts share with us what rights the consumer has in these situations and what you can do when confronted with these terribly misguided individuals. Welcome back to First Issues. As having heard the touching testimonies of customers who say they have been violated by store security guards, we now learn what can be done to prevent the perpetuation of these incidents. Our friends from Consumer Watchdog, Richard and Kate Harriman, have long advocated that consumers should know their rights for their own protection. And in this instance, the law is indeed on the side of the consumer.
The law is very clear on this now. There was a case that actually went to court in 2013, which was Molefi versus Scorpion Security. And during that ruling, the judge actually said it was unlawful to search a customer without their consent. So if you're leaving a store and the store security said, can I look in your bag, and you agree to it, that's absolutely fine. But if you're leaving a store and they ask to see in your bag and you say no, they have no legal powers to search your bag without your consent.
Some stores have notices on their premises warning patrons that they will be searched. Is there a legal basis for these notices? Can a store enforce these practices as a standard part of their operations?
Let me answer it by saying, what if the sign on the wall said, in this store we have the right to abduct your children? Would that make it legal? Of course not. You can't say we can do something illegal when it's illegal. What the sign says is irrelevant. The law is what applies. If you're not allowed to search someone's bag, you're not allowed to search someone's bag. If the sign said we will shoot you if we catch you shoplifting, that doesn't make it legal. You're not allowed to search someone. The ruling from Molefi versus Scorpion Security is very, very clear. Searching without consent is illegal, regardless of what the sign says.
The inadequate training of security guards is but one of the reasons why Kate thinks the cases of store customers being illegally searched continue.
I think it's because store managers don't know what the law says, and also you have a situation where security guards are given inadequate training and they're also given a perception of power. So they're told quite rightly to protect the property of the store, and they don't know where the boundaries are and where they can and cannot stop a customer. And I think, you know, for us at Consumer Watchdog, we hear some really heartfelt stories from customers who feel violated, they feel humiliated, they feel degraded, they feel emotionally abused and bruised as a result of security treatment. And, you know, we really need to empower customers to know what their rights are, and so they can also help educate store managers if something goes wrong on what they should, you know, what the law actually says.
Previous conversations with members of the security industry give us insight into why these supposed professionals could act in such a manner.
Our training is not standard yet. So you find that so as long as we don't have standardized training, we're still going to have a problem.
Kate says they have witnessed elements of discrimination as to who is targeted in these incidents. Who then have they found to be the true victims?
We did a survey recently, a community survey and online, where we interviewed several hundred people and asked them to tell us about their experience with security guards. And we found of the hundreds of people we spoke to, more than 80% had at some point been stopped by a guard. And of those people, 90% or so had had the guard ask them to search their belongings. And of that 90%, about 2/3 had allowed the guard to search their bags, their belongings. And almost everyone who was questioned felt offended or upset by that, having their bags searched. Yes, it's only a handbag or a carrier bag, but it's part of you. It's your personal space. It's your property. People got offended by that. Worse still, we asked people if the guard had ever asked to search their body, search their person. And not nearly as many had had that experience, but 1 in 6 of the people who'd been stopped, the guard had asked to search them physically. And 2/3 of that group had allowed that search to happen. They felt obliged to allow themselves to be searched. Of that small proportion, it was only 11% of people had been physically searched by a guard. Half of them were women being searched by a man. physically searched, their body being searched, a woman being searched by a man. That is wholly unacceptable. That is nasty, and that I think it's a form of sexual abuse. And why are we putting up with this? Why are we allowing our wives and our sisters and our daughters and our mothers to be searched by some perverted man who's trying to frisk a woman's body? It's absolutely unacceptable. That's a very small proportion of people, but it's 1 in 20 people are women who've been illegally searched intimately by a man. I think that's scandalous. They're the real victims, but also anyone who has their bag searched or their person searched has been illegally searched. They don't have a right to do that. And I think it's a gross invasion of someone's personal privacy and personal space. It shouldn't be allowed. It isn't allowed. And we should be politely standing up to security guards saying, no, you have no right to do that. If you want to search me, call the cops. Then I'll allow myself to be searched.
Welcome back to the program as we continue to study cases in which shoppers are being harassed by overzealous and unauthorized security guards. Our guests revealed earlier in the program that even in the extreme cases where customers have been asked to take their clothes off to be searched, many do not report these incidents, even at least to the store manager. We asked why.
Because they've been humiliated and embarrassed. It's a nasty feeling. If ever you've been the victim of a crime, you'll know that it affects your identity, it affects your confidence, it affects you deeply and profoundly. You'll be dreaming about these things, worrying about them for days, weeks, months, maybe even years afterwards. It's not just a slight insult you receive, it's an invasion of your dignity, as the judge said in the Molefi case, invasion of your dignity as an honest member of society. All of us, those of us who are not thieves, have a right to be treated with dignity because we are honest members of society.
You're now probably wondering whether or not those who have encountered this disconcerting trend can take legal action, whether or not they have the right to sue.
They do. And we encourage more customers to actually stand up for their rights and to say no, and to be empowered and know that you have the protection of the law behind you.
Listen carefully as our consumer advocates advise you as to what to do if you encounter a security guard who insists on searching you when you would prefer not to be.
If they're not willing to be searched, I would ask to see the store manager. So demand that the store manager is called and explain what the situation is to the manager, and ask the guard to actually justify why they want to search your bag. The guard only has a right to detain you if they think a serious offence has been committed. They can't just stop you randomly because they don't like the colour of your shoes. They've got to have good cause that you've committed a crime in their store. And I think, in fairness to stores, theft is a real problem. But stores need to find a better way to manage the problem of theft without alienating all of their customers. And things like requiring people to leave their bags at parcel counters or not letting people in with their bags, it just leaves competition open for stores that are more customer friendly for people to walk out the door and shop somewhere else. And you should refuse to do it and stand your ground and know that the law protects you.
We take it that you are now more conversant as to your rights as a consumer and hope to see these nasty incidents disappear completely in the near future.